before we do that, I want to establish two positions in the mount position. We have the low mount and we have the mid mount, right? We also have the high mount, but we're not going to look at that today. Either way, if you're high, or sorry, if you're medium or low, you have to have your feet control the center, right? So if we're here, notice his feet are in between my feet. If he wants to do pretty much any escape from here, he has access to it. Snake escape, bridge, and stuff like that. He's able to escape fairly easy from here. However, if I have my feet in the middle, I like to cross my feet, even just having the bottom of your feet connected here. If he tries that again, he doesn't have the space to do so very easily. He has to get his feet back in the middle in order for him to escape. So just by doing that, I'm going to be able to maintain position a lot more. Okay. When he's escaping, whether he's bridging or he's snake escaping, where is his escape coming from? Which part of his body? His hips, right? The mount is excellent for controlling the hips. So for controlling the shoulders, right? If we look at side control, I'm controlling more of the shoulders than I am the hips. If I'm controlling from the mount position, I have great control over the hips versus the shoulders. Okay? The low mount, excellent for maintaining position. Right, so if I just get to this position, or maybe he's really wily and he's trying to get out, the low mount position is excellent to keep your position here. So let's talk about the lower body first. I want to either cross my feet or I'm going to grapevine. I like both, right? Sometimes if I feel like he's getting away from this here, I'll cross my feet, or maybe he's trying to dig his feet into mine to try to get back into the center, right? I'll try to grapevine it back out. So not that one's better than the other, it's just depending on the situation. But either way, my feet are in the middle. The hips, right? It's not enough to be just above this way here. I want to apply pressure to his hips, right? So if I'm not on top of him, if you guys are familiar with like the parachute exercise or the Superman exercise, I'm going to lift my hips, my legs, my chest off the ground. So now my hips are pushing down into the ground, right? So if I'm doing that here, right, not only am I blocking his legs, now if he tries to bridge, I actually have a push back down. So it's very difficult for him to bridge and to escape from here. All right, I want to keep my chest up high, my arms wide. If I want to add more pressure, look, all my weight is through his hips. If he tries to push me one way or the other, I can put my hands back on the ground. If I want to be more stable, I can keep my hands, my knees on the ground to help stabilize. Both are good, depending on what I'm trying to do. For the mid-mount, usually he's keeping his arms in tight, so I don't have access going up high towards the shoulders. In terms of my posture, I'm a lot higher, so I'm more susceptible to the bridges, even if I am controlling the inside. So at a moment's notice, I want to be able to go back down if I need to. However, I have more space to attack his arms. Okay, so usually I use this mid-mount to attack if I need to. Right? If I'm trying to stabilize, I'll go back down. So let's practice just those two for a few moments, and we'll use that in the Americana as well. All right? Any questions on anything here? Generally, I'm going to have two options to flatten him back out. I can either, first option is push, right, at these 2 points, right? If I push here, this will flatten him out. We're not going to use this concept today, but I can pull, right? So if I pull, usually at the joints this way here, I can also flatten them out. Usually I use that one more for guard passing, but today even just pushing down, right? So I'll need to push on both sides. Generally, I can control the hip and flatten that out. It's going to be harder for him to turn his shoulders as well. All right, so the idea of pushing at the joints, the shoulders or the hips, right? It makes like a 2x4 essentially, and I can use that part. Okay? So, when I'm here, if he knows what to do, generally he's going to keep his arms in nice and tight. So if I try to move up higher, it's not going to be easy for me to do so. I like the Americana because it's easy to set up, and even if he is keeping everything nice and tight, I can start prying things away. Okay, so right now, I'm always going to attack the hand on top. He may switch as he's defending, so if he switches his arm, I'm just going to switch the arm that I'm attacking. For now, we'll keep it simple. Let's take the opposite hand on the wrist and the opposite hand on the elbow. here's a common mistake I see. Arms bend, and we're going strength with strength on who's going to be stronger. All right, and if his arms are already tight, he's already going to have a pretty good advantage. So I want to use my weight and gravity on my side. All right, so I want to keep my arms a little more straighter. It's not my arms doing the work. I'm letting my body fall into the position here. So it's my body weight that's pushing him, not the work of my arms. My arms are more of the frame for my body weight to push down. Okay. Now, as his arm starts to get away here, I need to start isolating his arm. So I'm going to do that in two ways. As he gets closer to the ground, I'm going to use my elbow to isolate his arm away from his body. So now if he tries to bring his arm back in, it's not my strength that's doing so, it's the frame of my arm. The common mistake here, look, we're here, and he's able to bring his arm back inside, and it's not going to work. He even has access to this arm to start pulling that arm back in, right? If he does switches while I'm trying to push down, right? So if I'm here, he's pulling with that arm, I'm just going to switch it to here. My elbow comes down, so now if he tries to reach, my shoulders will get in the way. It's not going to be easy for him to do so. About the time my elbow is going down, my hip is going to sprawl, right? Generally, if I don't pin him with my hip, as we push down, the common thing is he's going to start turning to the side, here. Even if I am able to lock it up, by him turning to his side, the amount of pressure I put on the shoulder diminishes quite a bit. So he's able to defend the Americana a lot more easily. So I need to isolate his arm using my elbow, and I need to pin his hip with my hip. So we're going to use the low side control again to help keep him pinned down. So as I come down, I'm going to sprawl also. I only really need to trap that leg. So now if he tries to turn, it's very, very difficult for him to do so. Look at my hips are turned. My hip is pushing his hip down. And I'm able to isolate him here. You guys want to jump on this side? If you're not familiar with the key lock, we have the key lock grip. So this is the Americana. We're also going to see the Kimura as well. But they're the same grip, just at different angles for the arm. So I'm going to go in at the elbow, the tricep side. Look here. This can be kind of tough, especially if he knows this is coming. Going palm down can be tough. If that is the issue, I'm going to go palm up, wiggle my way in. But when I grab, I'm going to go palm down. Let me do that one more time. If there is no space, I'm going to go palm up. I can wiggle myself in. I'm going to go palm down. To make the grip even tighter, look, my wrist is flexed this way. I'm going to flex this way with both wrists. Let me do that again. Except with two arms this time. Here. This is going to tighten up the grip. Notice if I stay this way, there's a gap. So there's a chance for him to escape his arm this way. Pull out that way. Out this way. Yeah. So there's a gap in my grip. If I rotate this way, I have a full grip now. Close with the frame of the arm, he's not able to pull back in. So his arm is stuck. To finish, right, what I see, especially early UFC days, you'll see this. It looks really bad. Oh my gosh, it's so flexible. It's just the angle's wrong. Pretend his hand is a paintbrush. I'm going to draw a pretty little line going down. You'll feel his shoulder tighten up. I'm going to continue dragging his arm down, but I'm going to lift his elbow up only, not his hand. And then be able to tap. If it's just up here, it looks bad. It's not that bad. Pull the arm down. I feel his shoulder tightening up. I lift the elbow up, and there's the tap. So putting all the pieces together, I'm starting off in the high mount. I have the angle to attack. Opposite hand on the wrist, same side on the elbow. Arms in tight, but I'm using my body weight to pin him down. As I get it down to here, my elbow comes down, and I sprawl. I go through the arm, I grab my wrist, and I flex. Drag the arm down, lift the elbow up, and he taps out. In general,
the nickname is chicken wings.
Chicken wing, yeah, chicken wing. Same thing, right? Depending on who you talk to, right? The grip that we can use to finish the chicken wing or the Kimura is going to be the same grip. So also, not only is it attacking the shoulder, we're using the same grip as well. All right. So commonly, as you go for the Americana, right, if they realize that the arm is isolated, they can't bring it back in. So while you're trying to set it up, maybe he slips out of my grip before I can flex, and he starts going palm down. It's not the end of the world. Okay. I'm gonna Make sure he can't change his mind. If he comes back in anyway, I'm just gonna go back for like Kimura or Americana. Yeah, I'll just catch it again. He just falls right back into it. This hand will stay underneath. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch arms. So this arm is going to go through, and then this arm is going to grab the wrist. And I have the Kimura set up. I'm going to do that one more time. We're set up for the Americana. Do you realize this is coming and I lose my grip? There is a chance for an arm bar. I think Stefano covered it the other night, but we're not going to worry about it today. Now he's hiding his arm. Usually he'll tuck it in, right? This arm makes sure he can't go too far where he's bringing it into his hip, right? So I can, if he does, I can spider walk it against the ground here to help break that grip. This arm, the common mistake here, people take this out and then try to switch, but I lose control. I go this first. So now there's going to be a point where I have both arms trapping. Lean back, grab the wrist. Look, elbow comes down. I can't finish it from here. I can't finish it from here. So I'm actually going to go back to the side control. Look, I'm still going to turn my hip. So I have pressure on that other hip and I'm going to dismount. This gives you a lot of space. It's that hip turning. So I'm still in the low side control. If you need help, I'm going to check my blind spot like I'm driving a car. I'll check my blind spot. That gives me enough rotation for my hips. And I'll slide back to here. In order to finish the Kimura, I need to bring his hand towards the back of his head. Right now the ground is physically in the way. I'm going to switch my hips again. So there's a lot of hip movement. If you notice, there's a lot of hip movement in jiu-jitsu, right? I'm going to bring my leg above his head. The way I'm going to lift the shoulders now, look at my elbow here. I'm going to point my elbow towards the ceiling. And now I have the space. Once you get his arm behind the threshold of his torso, even the strongest person is going to lose a lot of power. You're going to lose a lot of coordination. If I want to tighten it, I'm going to make the angle more acute. It's going to be tight. I can still finish it at a wider angle. Let's say he is at a wide angle here. I can still finish it, but as I step over and I lift, now it's easier for me to make that angle even tighter. Sometimes just by bringing that in, you can hit the finish as well. Take it from the top. So he set up the Americana, but before I can wrap it up, he escapes and he goes this way. Don't let go of this yet. I still have control over his elbow. When I control somebody, control him at the joints, my arm is controlling his elbow joints. I'm going to switch places. This is going to go through. I grab his wrist, and look, it's the same lock, just on the other side. This elbow, just as this one here was isolating his arm away from his head, this elbow here on the ground isolated his arm away from his body. He's going to be looking to bring this in, but if I have this wedge right here, look, if he tries to bring that inside, I'm not using any strength. It's just the frame of my forearm keeping it away. Look over the shoulder, swing the leg out to dismount. I want to be in line with the shoulders here. So kind of like that chest on chest, except this might be more belly button on chest in this case here. Step over, point my elbow towards the ceiling, and now I have the space. Even if his arm is extended, I don't need to bend his arm. I can still bring his hand to the back of his head and hit the finish. If they're super flexible, start to bend. Not only will it be tighter, you'll still get the flexible guys. Again, be careful on this one. Generally with the shoulder attacks, you can feel the tightness before it pops, but if it does pop, it's almost just as bad as the leg attacks that we saw earlier. Yes?
Is the finish just the rotation and